All right. If we're ready, let's begin. We're going to come to our mats and lay down in some kind of relaxing position, maybe Shavasana, corpse pose with your arms and legs outstretched, maybe constructive rest pose with your knees bent and your feet up at the edges of your mat, and knees then resting together at the center. If there are any other variations that you prefer, maybe arms overhead, or maybe today feels more like a day that you want to tune in while sitting, go ahead and just get comfy however you'd like. Let your feet do what they want. Let your arms and hands rest where they want. And maybe closing your eyes if you like here. Just imagining that you're becoming heavy like a lead weight. So you're just heavier. Gravity is pulling you down just a little more. In a gentle way, of course. Just getting a sense of groundedness through the back of your body or whatever parts are touching the floor. At the same time, you're feeling this kind of heaviness or groundedness. Let's invite in also a sense of lightness, maybe a lightness of being. Or maybe you want to imagine that you're actually like radiating a little bit of light. So just see if you can hold those two opposites at the same time, a sense of heaviness and a sense of lightness. Just try that on for size. Relaxing your face, relaxing your legs, your arms, your hands. Start to notice your breathing when you're ready. See if you can just breathe through your nose if possible. And take some belly breaths, drawing the air down, down, down to the lowest parts of your lungs. The belly might expand with your inhales. And lower and soften with your exhales. Just let it be natural, no forcing it. For the next few breaths, just begin to notice what you notice. If any sensations come through or any emotions or thoughts, just continue to notice whatever it is that you're noticing. Breathing and noticing. And then scan your body again. Has time tensed you up in any way? Are your shoulders starting to get tense, or your face? Soften everything back out. And if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for today's practice, now is a good time to bring something or someone to mind. Let's take 3 clearing breaths now together. Inhale through your nose. Sigh out of your mouth. 2 more like that, your own timing. And returning to a normal, natural pace of breath whenever your clearing breaths are complete. Just start by wiggling your fingers and toes. Let your head kind of rock from one side to the other. Maybe starting to blink your eyes open if you want. And start to reach long for a long body stretch, reaching your arms and legs straight in opposite directions. And while you're stretching long, maybe circling your ankles and wrists a couple of times, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. And then we'll bring those hands down. Start to bend your knees and hug your knees in toward your chest a little bit. Let's get our little lower back massage going here just by taking some free movement, circling a little bit or rocking side to side. And letting the back of the pelvis just really have that sense of heaviness here so we can use the pressure as a little massage. Good, good. And you can always experiment with hugging your knees in closer, seeing what it's like, or letting your knees go a little farther away, just noticing how that pressure can move around quite a bit. Okay. And then set your feet down, kind of like a constructive rest, leg position, just something comfortable there. I like to have my knees just resting together because then I don't have to worry about my knees. Like, I don't know, they're just like in place. Let's bring the arms out to a T and just kind of take a moment as you let the chest expand a little bit here. Reaching the arms in opposite directions here, just getting a little stretch, maybe through the pecs or the armpits or wherever you're feeling it. Then go ahead and wrap your arms together. Let's have the right arm on top, the left arm on the bottom, and just kind of hug opposite shoulders. We're going to really try to get into a protracted shoulder state, which means the shoulder blades are spread out really far. So that kind of means like pushing your shoulders forward. And then just rock your upper body a little bit side to side and see if you can get that massaging sensation now through kind of the middle upper part of the back in between the shoulder blades. Maybe you feel a little shoulder stretch here too. Just see if there's anything here for you today. You can take as much time as you'd like on this side. And then eventually letting your arms go wide again and just setting those arms down on the ground in a T position with the palms facing up. Just take a moment to reset. And then, of course, we will do the opposite. So now left arm goes on top, right arm goes on the bottom, hugging, reaching for opposite shoulders or arms, whatever you can reach, and spreading those shoulder blades apart, kind of by pushing the arms forward. And then again, just kind of rocking the upper body side to side, getting that pressure through the upper back, the middle of the shoulders, or in between the shoulders, rather. Just seeing if there's anything here for you. Some people really like this. Other people are like, I don't feel anything. So it's okay, whatever you're experiencing. We are just always experimenting. Okay, when you're done with that side, bring those arms way back out to a T again, just for a moment, resetting. And then we'll turn over onto either side, just coming up to a seat through the fetal position. So use the help of your arms and hands to come up to a seat. We'll do a little cat and cow from a seated position here. So I'll go to the side so you can really tell what's going on. You can bring your hands to your knees here to start, or your shins, and then just kind of puff the chest forward as you kind of lower the shoulders down, puffing the chest out, kind of looking up a bit. This is kind of like cow pose. And then start to round your back, pressing your back backwards and tucking your chin toward your chest, getting that cat-like shape rounding through your spine. Now let's sync it up with breath. We'll inhale, coming forward, puffing the chest, opening up through the collarbones, gazing up. And then exhale, finding your way back to your cat-like pose, pushing the spine back. Go ahead and just continue a couple times, inhaling forward, exhaling back. If you want to try another variation of this, you could cross your arms so you're grabbing hold of opposite knees or opposite shins or ankles, whatever you can reach here, and just see if that adds any dimension to your cat and cow. I feel like it gets extra into the shoulders. And if you have crossed your arms or hands, just making sure to cross them the other way at some point as you continue cat and cow. As always, you can take little extra movements, maybe a little shrugging of the shoulders or a wiggling. Okay. When you're done with that, coming back up, let's do a 90-90 pose next. So we'll bring that right leg out toward the right side. And 90-90, the legs are supposedly like about 90 degrees, but they don't have to be. If this feels like too much here, you can give yourself a little propping, maybe coming to sit that left glute up on a stack of blocks, maybe putting something under that left knee. Having a block under your left knee can be really nice too. So try to find somewhere where you're not super straining. This is actually asking quite a bit of the hips and the knees. So make yourself comfy. We're going to take a twist toward the left. So bringing that right hand to your left knee. And at first, without cranking yourself into it, just kind of gazing over that left shoulder like someone's calling your name behind you. And you are just in this pose for some reason. Who's calling my name? Just kind of looking back. And then come, unwind, coming back to the center. Let's just do it a couple times. So it's kind of a passive or active twisting. We're not really using that right hand to crank into the twist too much. Just the few first times through. Nice and gentle. Then if you want to add a little more of that passive stretching, just twisting and then pressing gently into that left knee. Kind of pushing that right hip forward a bit. Seeing if you can still breathe. And then unwind, come back to center. We'll find a little fold over that left knee. You can experiment here. Usually we have the chest centered over the left knee, so kind of twisting toward that left knee. But you could also try to go straight down. So go ahead and experiment a little bit here. You might start by folding over that left knee, seeing how that feels. Can be kind of nice to kind of inhale and come back up a little bit. And then exhale to fold forward. If that feels awesome, maybe you stay there. If you want to try going in a different direction, maybe you bring your hands, left hand by your left knee, right hand by your right or left foot. Maybe you go in the center. Just getting a different angle on this fold. You can hold somewhere or keep rising with the inhales and exhaling as you lower. And a lot of these kind of open-ended cueing, open-ended cues that I'm giving, just giving you an opportunity to kind of figure out what you're liking today. You are a good teacher, so we're practicing listening in to our wants, our needs, our boundaries, our edges. Just working to honor your body a little more. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, slowly rising back up. We will switch sides here. If you want a little challenge, you can keep your legs as they are. Bring your hands behind you. So you're kind of leaning backwards, and see if you can just pull those knees up and over to the other side. Just see. You might go back and forth a couple of times if that feels good. It really requires kind of a lot of hip mobility, so don't worry if it's not working for you. And then eventually landing in that 90-90 with your left leg out toward the left side. Right shin toward the front of your mat now. And again, you can adjust. It doesn't have to be exactly 90 degrees with both legs. You can prop up your right hip or give a block underneath that right knee for a little more support. Make yourself comfortable. Do not suffer through a pose just for the sake of making a shape. Let's take our active twist toward the right. So you might just rest your left hand on your right knee. Let's not use it for leverage yet. Bringing that right hand kind of back by the right hip. I'm just kind of starting to gaze over that right shoulder now, like someone's calling your name back there. And you're like, what? I'm right in the middle of my puzzle or something. I'm not moving from this weird position. Okay, you can unwind a little bit and then twist again using this active twist, meaning we're using the strength of our muscles here to get into the twist. And then if you want, getting into that active range here, you might press your left hand into your right knee a little bit more, finding that passive range of motion. Kind of pressing that left hip forward. Take a few breaths and notice what it feels like to breathe deep in this twist. And starting to come back towards center. We'll do our little forward folding. Again, you could start with your heart centered over that right knee or kind of close. You bring your hands out toward the top of your mat and just see about folding forward a little bit here. See if you can kind of hinge at your hips instead of rounding forward. Like you want to think about maybe your chest being the first thing to lower instead of your head. Just see if that feels good. You might just lift and lower a couple times. It's not about depth here, it's more about sensing in to what you're feeling. You might use your inhales to lift up. You might use your exhales to sink down. If you want to try a different angle, you can walk your hands a little bit more toward center or over that right shin and just kind of fold there. See what this angle feels like. You could keep lifting and lowering or start to find a spot to stay for a few rounds of breath. And if you do choose stillness, make sure that your body is getting signals of like that you're safe. So you're not pushing too far. You're still breathing. Maybe you even soften through the upper body and face. Send those nice, safe signals to the nervous system. Let's have about 3 more breaths on this side. take your time. Whenever that third breath is eventually up, just slowly rising. And we'll straighten both legs and give them just a little wiggle here, maybe a tap. I think it just feels so nice to give everything a good tap. Okay, then we're coming to hands and knees, and we'll find our first downward facing dog, bringing those blocks up to the top of your mat. If you want some cat and cow before you get there, go ahead, cat and cow a few times. And then we'll head into our downward dog, spreading the fingertips out, hands on blocks or the floor, curling your toes under, and then picking up the knees, reaching your tailbone high, pressing into all edges of your hands, especially between the thumb and pointer finger. Reach through your shoulders, pressing your hands down into the blocks more. And reaching that tailbone high. Find your breath here. And if you want, pedal legs out, bending and straightening, opposite knees a couple times. Eventually, maybe some stillness here in our downward dog. Just about one more breath in. And one more breath out. Bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, step or walk your feet behind those blocks or hands. With an inhale, let's halfway lift, bringing your hands all the way up to your thighs today. So you're really finding that halfway lift with a nice straight spine. We want to find kind of extension through the spine, so we're kind of pushing the chest forward. In this halfway lift, bending your knees just slightly so you're not straining the back of your legs. With an exhale, forward folding. Let's have our ragdoll pose here for a couple moments. You can always toe heel those feet out extra wide, maybe taking a wide-legged forward fold here if that suits you better than ragdoll. If you're going for ragdoll, just make sure to keep that little bend of the knees, maybe swaying a little bit from side to side, or being still. We always have choices. Letting your head be kind of loose. Maybe you nod your head yes and shake your head no a couple times. One more breath in. One more breath out. Bend your knees and then walk your hands up your legs, slowly coming to stand. Eventually, when you get to the top, let's pull those shoulders back and just take a little easy back bend here. You might reach your arms back, puffing the chest up, looking up toward the sky. And then stand up like normal. You can get a little shake going here, a little bounce, maybe lifting and lowering your heels, letting gravity kind of pull the muscles and just every part of your body kind of down and up. Maybe shaking the arms out a little bit. Maybe those legs want some shaking. Just go ahead, freestyle, wiggle, shake. Getting that circulation going. Moving that stagnant or dense energy from whatever has happened in your day. And then coming to the top of your mat, we'll do a couple kind of modified sun salutations today. So find a comfortable footing for your feet. Footing for your feet. And spin the palms to face the front of your space, finding mountain pose, Tadasana. With your inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, option to look up at your palms as they join. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold, hinging at your hips. Lower those hands down toward the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the blocks or floor. Let's step the right foot back first and then the left. Let's go right to our downward dog. So Downward dog here, 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, option to lift up that right leg, 3-legged down dog. Exhale, bend that right knee, pull it in, take that right foot to the top of your mat, and then left foot follows. So you're ending up at the front in a forward fold. Surprisingly difficult to do that step forward some days, isn't it? Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold with a little bend of the knees. Press your feet down into the ground. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Arms go wide, hinging upward through the hips. And then spinning the palms toward the sky and joining them overhead. Exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Take about 3 breaths here, just coming back to center. Remembering your intention if you set one. And then a clearing breath here to close it out. Inhale through the nose. Sigh through your mouth. Inhale, reach your arms down, around, and up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the floor or blocks. We're stepping that left foot back first, and then the right, pulling back to your downward dog. 3 breaths here. Inhale, pressing each finger down into the floor, and exhale, shoulders reaching. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, option to lift up that left leg, down, 3-legged down dog. And exhale, step that left foot forward just the best you can. You can always wiggle it up if it doesn't go very far. And then step that right foot forward to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, rising up and joining palms overhead. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center for 3 breaths. Just finding that sense of centeredness. And then we'll take a clearing breath, inhaling through your nose. And sigh to release. Okay, go ahead and lower your hands down by your sides. We'll do a little side bending here first, and then we'll do our balancing pose. So finding a comfortable footing, maybe feet about hip width distance apart or so. With an inhale, let's just reach up. And interlace your fingers at the top, and exhale, press the palms high. Keep breathing like normal here as you start to gently sway side to side. Just a little light side bending here in each direction. Just kind of flowing side to side a couple times. And coming back up to the top, keeping your fingers interlaced now, you can kind of flip the palms back toward the top of your head here. And let's bend through the right, or well, actually both elbows, but that right elbow is coming down. The left elbow, you're just kind of pulling behind your head if that works for you. Kind of press your head back into your left arm, kind of opening up toward the ceiling, and then taking just a little side bend toward the right. Coming back up to center, stretch those arms up high, and then this time that left elbow lowering, the right arm is kind of cradling your head now. Just pressing your head back, taking just a little, kind of just a very baby back bend here, pulling those elbows back. And then coming to a more neutral stance for your side bend, reaching that left elbow toward the left side. Take your time and then come back up. And with an exhale, lower your arms down. All right, we're going to do a little balance test, if you will. So if you want support, maybe you come and stand close to a wall. You can even have your back kind of touching the wall as we do a few of these things. If you want some support. So our first one, we're just going to have our feet together or close, whatever feels comfortable, but maybe feet kind of touching here. And we're just going to cross our arms, doesn't matter which way or which arm is on top. And as long as your surroundings are clear, you can close your eyes and just see if you can feel a little wobble, those stabilizing muscles maybe pulling you back to the center, depending on your balancing abilities. This could be a real big challenge, or maybe you're like, this is not even balancing at all. That's okay. We're gonna amp it up a little bit as we go. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. If that went well, we're gonna do the next step here, which is to bring the right foot in front of the left foot. So your right heel is kind of touching your left toes. And this might be enough. Maybe you don't even need to close your eyes here, just kind of holding. If it feels safe to you, go ahead and cross your arms again and see if you can close your eyes here. And just kind of notice it's okay to have that wobble. It's actually really good for the stabilizing muscles. It's helping to build your ability to balance later, so consider it a win if you find that little wobble. If it's too much to have your eyes closed, maybe you kind of halfway open them so you have just like a little gaze in front of you. And then go ahead and open your eyes, let your arms come down. You can always come to a wall if you need to. Let's switch sides now so that left heel, or the left foot's in front, right foot's in back. And then crossing your arms once more. And closing your eyes if that feels safe to you. And just seeing. You might check in and make sure that you have somewhat equal pressure through both feet. That might be helpful in your balancing. So both feet are feeling a little pressure. Again, that little wobble is normal. Okay, and then opening your eyes, coming on back. If those went well, we're going to take it up one more notch here. If those didn't go super well, you could repeat some of those, or maybe just come to a tree pose if you want. Our next one is going to be kind of a variation on tree. We're just going to bend the right knee and then bring the right foot, just bend the right knee so the right foot comes up off of the floor, or it can touch down for support. You choose the level there. And then if it feels safe, we'll cross the arms. If that's still feeling safe to you, maybe you close your eyes and see how it goes. Just for a few seconds. Focusing on balancing, on breathing. One more breath in. And then exhale as you lower it back down. Whew. It's kind of challenging, huh? Switching sides. Now we're stepping into that right foot and bending the left knee a bit. Crossing your arms when you're ready if it feels okay to you. And again, only if it's feeling safe, close your eyes and just tune in. Feel those little wobbles. Try to imagine yourself like a really steady mountain or tree. You're rooted down, but the wind might kind of blow you a little bit, just like trees do. They're flexible. One more breath in. And then breath out. Let it all back down. Give it a little shake if you want. You can kind of drill yourself a little bit with those. Do some drills in the morning when you're like brushing your teeth or something. Just working on the balance stuff. Let's come on down to the floor. And we'll come right down to our backs. And you can pull your knees or legs in with you or bring them in once you reach the floor. And let's find that nice back massage, lower back massage, sacrum massage here by rocking a little bit side to side and or circling your knees. Just noticing if you can find some good spots to have pressure on. Okay. And then letting your feet come down to the floor. Let's bring the arms out wide here. Scoot the pelvis way over toward that left edge of your mat, and then allow your knees to start twisting and lowering toward the right. Just make sure that left arm is staying down on the ground. If it's not, if it's following you into the twist, you could bring your left arm to your left side or find a couple of props to put between your knees or between your knees and the floor so that you can keep that left shoulder and arm grounded down. Option to keep your gaze straight ahead or maybe starting to slightly turn the gaze toward the left, the opposite way that your knees are facing. And thinking about switching sides soon, slowly turning the gaze back up, bringing those knees back up. Then we'll scoot the pelvis way over toward the right edge of the mat, setting it down near that right edge, and then allowing your knees to start twisting and lowering toward the left, keeping that right shoulder and right arm down on the floor. Finding those props again if you need a little extra scaffolding to help you keep that right shoulder down. And you might keep your gaze straight up or slightly to the right this time. Check in, make sure you're in a pretty relaxed state. There's no extra tension in your face or jaw or anywhere else. Couple more breaths. And start to think about coming back up, gazing toward the ceiling, and then bringing those knees up, centering your pelvis on your mat. And if you'd like any last movements, poses, or stretches, now is your chance to give your body whatever else it needs. Maybe heading to a happy baby if you want, reaching down for the inside or outside edges of your feet and pulling your knees in toward your armpits. Maybe something else. And taking your time with your last little movements here. And then when you're ready, starting to find your final resting pose. And it could be the same way you started, maybe in Shavasana or constructive rest pose. Maybe you find legs up the wall or legs on a chair. Go ahead and get as comfortable as you can. Maybe getting a pillow for under your head or putting your blocks underneath your knees. See what works for you. And just keep adjusting until you feel good. And if you'd like, taking one more clearing breath in your own timing. Clearing breath goes in through the nose and sigh out of your mouth. Maybe some sound too, if you want. And letting your shoulders be heavy and grounded. Relaxing the upper body, your face, your head, your neck, shoulders and arms. Relaxing through your chest and upper back. Mid back, kind of stomach area. The whole torso, the lower part of the back, the belly. Relaxing the glutes, the pelvis, the hips. Soften through the legs, the ankles and feet. And just letting your burdens go for now. Letting go a little more, just kind of merging with the present moment, where there just, hopefully, are just no demands on you at all right now, just releasing. Maybe a profound sense of relief, solace. And when thoughts come through your mind, let's see if you can catch them, notice them, and let them go. Coming back to the sense of relief, rest, maybe a bit of expansion of your energy. And instead of scolding yourself when thoughts come in, just get curious, noticing what you notice. We'll be here for just about 2 more minutes. So I will mind the time. I'll bring us back in after that. Just keep noticing and softening. Noticing and softening. Maybe one or two more breaths. And whenever it feels right, just starting to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe yawning or opening and closing your jaw or swallowing. You might rock your head side to side or circle through ankles, wrists, elbows, shoulders, any kind of movements that feel right. And then eventually choose a side and roll onto that side, finding the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in, and maybe your bottom arm can be your pillow. Take one more very slow and savory breath. And eventually, at the bottom of that exhale, using the help of your hands, press your way on up to a comfortable seat. If it feels right, let's join hands in front of the heart and maybe close the eyes here or just kind of gazing downward. If you'd like, you can join me in our closing chant, which goes Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, meaning peace, peace, peace. If you'd like to join me, let's take a breath in to prepare. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And together, bringing thumbs up to third eye center. And if it feels right, let's take a little bow forward in gratitude. Peace.